Today we are going to deal with the topic stereochemistry. If you are giving a definition for stereochemistry, we can say that it is the branch of chemistry that is concerned with the 3D arrangement of atoms, molecules, and also the effect of this arrangement in the chemical reactions. Or simply we can say that the study about the spatial arrangement and orientations of compounds in a 3D space. Elaborating on stereochemistry, what we shall know or the basics of stereochemistry is with isomerism. Then what is isomerism? Isomerism is the phenomenon where two molecules have the same molecular formula but they will be different various aspects. And these various aspects may be, the difference may be in structure, functional groups, or either in the spatial arrangement. Based on these various aspects, isomerism is firstly classified into two, that is structural isomerism and stereoisomerism. Then structural isomerism. Structural isomerism means, as the name denotes, structural isomerism is the isomerism where the molecules will be differed in their structure, and the name stereo means the difference in the molecules will be in the spatial arrangement or the 3D arrangement of the molecules. Then structural isomerism is again classified into chain isomerism, position isomerism, functional isomerism, metamerism and tautomerism. Similarly, stereoisomerism is also classified into two, as conformational isomerism and configurational isomerism. Now we can elaborate on the structural isomers. Among the structural isomers, first one is chain isomerism. As the name denotes, in chain isomerism, the difference will be in the chain of the compound. As we know, in organic compounds, we have straight chain compounds, branched compounds, and also aromatic cyclic compounds. We mainly deal with the long chain compounds. So, if you are taking butane as an example, we can say that CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. This is the normal butane, and we can write the same compound as the branched one as CH3, CH2, CH3, and one as the branched compound. So now this is 2-methyl this is 2-methyl propane. On analyzing, we can see that both have the same molecular formula C4H10. So this is normal butane and the second one is 2-methyl propane. Both the compounds have same molecular formula but they differ in the chain arrangement of the compounds. So they are called as chain isomers. Then the second structural isomer, that is positional isomers. When the chain isomer is difference is in chain, when we are discussing about the positional isomers, the difference will be in the position of the, either it will be in the double bond or triple bonds, or it will be in the difference in position of the functional groups. We can take example of butane again, CH2, double bond CH, CH2, CH3. Here we have C4H8 for the both molecules. Here the one is 1 butene, and here it is 2-butene. So both of them are alkenes, and in the first one it have the double bond at the first position, that is in between the first and second carbon, and in the second one the double bond is in between the second and third carbon. So the double bond shift to second position in the 2-butene. So the change is in the position of double bond. So we can tell this is a positional isomer. Third one is functional isomer. As mentioned before, functional isomers are also indicated by the name. Here the difference will be in the functional group. As we all know, there are many functional groups: alcohols, acids, ketones, and like that so many functional groups. So in functional isomers, the difference will be in functional groups. If you are taking an example of ethanol and methoxymethane, we can see that ethanol have the chemical formula CH3, CH2, OH, and for methoxymethane the formula is CH3O, CH3, C2. So ethanol and methoxymethane have the same molecular formula but differ in the functional groups. Ethanol have the hydroxyl functional group, whereas methoxymethane has the ether functional group, but both have the same molecular formula. So these are functional isomers. Next two of the structural isomers are tautomers and metamers. These are a little bit different from these chain, position and functional isomers. Now we can discuss on the tautomerism and metamerism. First one is metamerism. Metamerism is nothing but as we seen in above compound, that is methoxymethane, the change or the difference is in the number of carbon chains in both the compounds. That is, if you are taking a bifunctional group as the functional group, the arrangement of carbon chains will be a little bit different in both the sides of bifunctional group. For metamerism is commonly seen in compounds like ethers. So we are taking an ether as an example. So CH3, CH2, OCH2, CH3, and this is ethoxy ether was one of the example, and the metamer of this ethoxy ether will be CH3, CH2, CH2, O, CH3. Here the bifunctional group is O. We can take the bifunctional group such as S, that is sulfur, amide, carbon monoxide. These are all are bifunctional groups, and if you are taking these bifunctional groups as the functional group of the chain, we can see that both sides of the carbon functional group will be different in number of carbon. So in both sides of the oxygen, that is the bifunctional group, we have 2 carbons each, and in the second compound one side has 3 carbons and other has only 1. So these are the metamers, and metamerism is the difference in the carbon chain on both sides of the functional groups. That is we called as metamerism. Next one is tautomerism. In tautomerism, we can say that tautomerism is the easy or rapid equilibrium of the molecules. That is, the molecules or the isomers will be existing in a rapid and easy equilibrium. Or simply, these molecules will be simultaneously changing to two different functional groups. For example, on taking this molecule as an example, what is tautomerism? Here it is an alcohol and here it is a ketone. So we can name it as keto-enol tautomerism. Keto-enol tautomerism. And why we are naming such an isomer as keto-enol tautomerism? Because here it is an alcohol, and when this bond shifts to here comes a valency, and this bond will be shifting to the when this bond shifts to here will be a negative valency. So the carbon will abstract this hydrogen, and so here comes again a negative charge. This charge will be transferred to here. So this single bond converts to double bond, and it will be a ketone, and this hydrogen comes to here. So here it is CH and here it is CH2. So the alcohol converts to ketone. As we mentioned before, in tautomerism, this will be simultaneously changing to ketone and enol, that is alcohol. So we can name it as keto-enol tautomerism. That is about structural isomerism. That is, we have 5 types of structural isomers: chain, positional, functional, metamerism, and last one tautomerism. That is about structural isomers. And then we are going to stereoisomers. As you said about stereoisomerism is the isomerism where the difference is in spatial or 3D arrangement of the molecules. Based on the 3D arrangement, stereoisomerism can be converted or classified into conformational isomers and configurational isomers. Now, what is conformational isomers and configurational isomers? First one is conformational isomers. Generally, conformational isomerism is seen in single bonded compounds. Why the single bonded compounds? It is because the conformational isomerism means the isomers which will, as we earlier discussed, it will be the difference in the 3D arrangement, and conformational isomerism means these isomers can be interconverted without breaking a bond. That is, if we are taking this as a compound, by simply rotating or twisting this, we can convert a conformational isomer into another conformational isomer. The compounds like ethane is a perfect example for a conformational isomer. Then on the other side, what is configurational isomer or configurational isomer? Taking the alkene of the alkane ethane, we can take it as ethene. CH2. Here, instead of the single bond, ethene has a double bond. So in configurational isomers, the isomers cannot be interconverted by a twisting or rotating of the bond. It is because here there is only one bond, that is a single bond. So we can easily twist or rotate the bonds. But in a double bonded or triple bonded compounds, this twisting or rotating is not possible. So on twisting, this bond will break and we cannot twist convert the isomer into the next isomer. So in configurational isomers, the isomers cannot be interconverted by the rotation or twisting of these double bond. That is, without breaking, we cannot convert an isomer. In conformational isomers, we can easily convert an isomer just by twisting the bond. So conformational isomers are commonly seen in single bonded compounds, and configurational isomers are seen in double bonded or triple bond, that is in multiple bonded compounds. Conformational isomers are generally seen in single bonded compounds, so that there will be no other classifications. But in configurational isomers, these configurational isomers can be classified into optical isomers and then geometrical isomers. And then what is optical and geometrical isomers? First one is optical isomers. We all know the optical means it is something related to light, and optical activity decides the optical isomers. We can simply say that if you are taking a compound such as if you are taking lactic acid as an example, or this compound as an example, we can say the optical activity as, if you are placing a mirror, if this is the compound and we are placing a mirror sideways, we can see the mirror image of this compound on the other side. Here this dashed line indicates a mirror. And how can we say two compounds are optical isomer? When the mirror image of the first isomer, that is, we can represent it as negative and positive ones. The mirror image of the same compound can be seen in the mirror, and if these two compounds are not superimposable images of each other, they can be said as optical isomers. And the best example of optical isomers are our two hands. When we are placing a hand and a mirror sideways, we can see the mirror image of our hand as on the other side, that is like this. So these two hands are non-superimposable. Non-superimposable means when we are placing one above the other, it will be not coinciding. There will be something on balance, and like our hands, similar to our hands, when we are placing this on the mirror image, OH will be comes on the other side, so it will be not coinciding. That is non-superimposable mirror images of each other. That are optical isomers. Optical isomers are also called enantiomers. Enantiomers and optical isomers are same. That is the non-superimposable images of each other. That is optical or enantiomers or optical isomers. Then going to the geometrical isomers, the difference will be in the geometry of the compounds. That is in on the two sides of the double bond. It is because in a double bonded or multiple bonded compounds, we cannot convert the conformers by the changing or twisting of the carbon chain. So the optical isomers is the mirror image, whereas geometrical isomer, we can say that the difference is in the geometry of the 3D arranged molecules. Geometrical isomers are also called cis-trans isomers. Geometrical isomers, the perfect example can be denoted as C, double bond C, here both are same compounds, but we cannot convert this isomer into this one simply by converting or rotating the bond. So we are having two isomers, that is cis isomer. How can we say it is a cis isomer? If you are placing a plane along the carbon chain, that is if these are two carbons and here a double bond here, along this we are placing a plane. One side has the same molecules and the other side have the same attached groups. That is, here we are placing a plane. The above plane has Cl molecules or Cl atoms, and the above plane has both the hydrogen atoms. So the same plane consists of same molecules or atoms. We can say that is a cis isomer. And similarly, if you are placing a plane like this, the above plane has Cl and H, and similar the below plane also has H and Cl. So that placing this plane like this, we can say the above and below plane, or the same plane has two different type of atoms or molecules attached to them. So this type of molecules are called trans isomers. Because of the presence of these two isomers, cis and trans isomers, geometrical isomers are also called as cis-trans, isomers. That is called geometrical isomers. So, concluding the isomerism, we can say that isomerism is basically categorized into structural isomerism and stereoisomerism. And the structural isomerism is mainly the differences in structure, so that it can be classified into chain isomerism, positional isomerism, functional isomerism, metamerism and tautomerism. Each are different in their aspects. And going to stereoisomers, the difference is in the 3D arrangement of atoms or molecules. And stereoisomers are again categorized into conformational and configurational isomers. Conformational isomers means the isomers that can be interconverted by simple twisting or rotating of the bond, and they are commonly seen in single bonded compounds. And going to configurational isomers, the isomers cannot be converted simply by the twisting or rotating of the bond because of the presence of double bonds. So that configurational isomers is further classified into optical isomers and geometrical isomers. And the optical isomer means there will be two not superimposable mirror images of each other. If you are taking this as an example, its isomer will be the non-superimposable mirror image of the same compound, that is negative and positive lactic acid. Then in geometrical isomers, the difference will be in the geometry of the compound, and the geometry is difference because if you are placing a plane in the double bond, the above plane and below plane, that is the above plane has same atoms attached to the carbon, and also the below carbon has same two hydrogen attached to the carbon. So we can say that these type of compounds are cis isomers, and below we are placing a plane, the above plane has two different atoms, similarly in the below plane. So we can say that it is kind of trans isomer. And this is the basic isomerism. And next we are discussing about the projections or compounds. How can these compounds can be represented in a 2D or two-dimensional papers? And when we are starting the topic stereochemistry, we said that it is a study of spatial arrangement or orientations of compounds in a 3D space. As we all know, stereochemistry is dealing with the molecules in a 3D space. That is, all molecules. That is, if you are, even if we are representing it in a 2 dimension in a paper or a board, actually we know that it will be a 3D molecule is existing in space. That is, like this in a space, it will be already existing. So we have to represent a 3D molecule into a 2 dimension. In compounds like diatomic or triatomic, it will be much easier. When going for the organic compounds, it will be long chain compounds. So the 3D arrangement and the representation of these 3D molecules in a 2-dimensional paper is much more difficult. So we are going for the projection formulas for the organic compounds. Mainly we have 4 projection formulas. The 4 projection formulas, the first one is Fischer. Second one is Newman projection. Third one is flying wedge. And the fourth one, sawhorse. These are the commonly used 4 projection formulas: Fischer, Newman, flying wedge and sawhorse. So we can simply say what are each type of projection formulas. First one is Fischer. Fischer projection is nothing but the line representation of a compound. Fischer representation means, as we see it in the example of optical isomers, the compound will be represented by vertical and horizontal lines. The horizontal line indicates the compound, the bonds which are flying, that is, which are showing towards us, and this line represents the compounds that are away from us. If you are converting this into that is, the wedges represent the bonds towards us, that is, whoever that is looking for to the molecule, this bond will be projecting towards us, and this line indicates the bonds which are looking away from us, that is, the dashed bond represent the bonds looking away from us, and the wedges represent the bonds projecting towards us. That is Fischer projection. And it will, as this molecule represent, it is the representation by flying wedge. That is, the wedges represent the molecules or atoms projecting towards us, and the dashes represent the molecules or atoms or groups projecting away from us. That is the flying wedge representation. Now comes the other two ones, Newman and sawhorse, and it is the 2 commonly used projections in the organic chemistry and stereochemistry. Now, what is Newman projection? Newman projection is the projection where we can use or we can analyze a compound simply by representing it in a circle and a dot. That is, if you are taking ethane as example. We are taking ethane for example because it is the simplest chain compound, CH3, CH3, and we are taking the projections by from where we are looking to the compound. We are taking the angle of vision from here. We can represent this is the front carbon, and that is this is the front carbon and it is the back carbon. So this is the front carbon and it is the back carbon. In Newman projection, the back carbon is also called rear carbon. This is rear carbon, this is front carbon. Back carbon or rear carbon is represented by a circle, and this front carbon is represented by a dot. So this is first and second. This is the first carbon and this is the second carbon. Now we are representing these 3 hydrogens as the 3 lines on the carbon as this. So first carbon has 3 hydrogens. We can place it as like this, and also the second carbon has 3 hydrogens. So we can place it as This is the Newman projection of CH3 and CH3. This is the Newman projection. Newman projection can be represented in two styles. That is, this is the staggered one. That is, all three bonds of the front carbon and back carbon are efficiently placed in much distance, and we can represent also the same ethane compound like this. We can say this is the eclipsed one. It is because if you are taking this as a bond, the hydrogen will be above this, and the same hydrogen of the back carbon will be parallel to the hydrogen in the front carbon. So this will be in parallel mode, and this one hydrogen is eclipsed by the other hydrogen, or any other group in the front carbon is eclipsed by the group, back carbon is eclipsed by the group in the front carbon. That is called an eclipsed conformation. So Newman projection has two types of conformation, that is staggered and eclipsed conformation. Here the front carbon is represented by a dot, and with the rear carbon or back carbon is represented by a circle, and all other bonds are represented by these lines going from the dot and from the circle. So if you are looking like this, the vision will be like this. In here the front carbon, and here the back carbon. Now going for the last and final projection, that is Sohaus projection. Sohaus projection is as we seen in Newman projection. Sohaus projection, the bonds will be represented by long diagonal lines. We are taking the same ethane molecule as the example. Ethane can be represented as like this. A single bond is represented by long diagonal lines, and this will be the front carbon, that is first carbon. This is the second carbon, that is the back carbon. There will be three hydrogens each on the each carbon. It can be placed as this. Similar to Newman projection, we have eclipsed and staggered conformation in Sohaus projection also. When we are just twisting the bond, this will be coming down and it will be an eclipsed conformation. So in Fischer projection, it will be a line projection, that is horizontal and vertical lines, where this one represents the bond projecting towards us, and this one represents the bond projecting away from us. And similar, that is flying wedge represent, the wedges represent the bond towards us, and the dashes represent the bonds away from us. In Newman projection, there is front carbon and rear carbon. Front carbon represented by a dot in the center of the circle, and the circle represents the rear carbon. And one more thing to notice in the Newman projection is, if you are giving a flying wedge representation, the wedges that is can be represented in the Newman projection always should be on the right side of the circle. That is right side compounds. That is the lines on the right side represent the bonds towards from us, and the lines in the left side of the circle represents the molecules or groups away from us. Last one is Sohaus projection. That is, the bonds are represented by long diagonal lines, and the bonds are represented at the end of end of the line as in Newman projection. So and also there will be eclipsed and staggered conformation in Sohaus projection also. So that by the four projections, Fischer, Newman, flying wedge and Sohaus projections, we can somewhat easily represent these 3D molecules in a two-dimensional paper. So that we can conclude the class about stereochemistry. That is, now we had discussed about the basics of stereochemistry, and that is about the basics of stereochemistry. Thank you.